Well, good evening, everybody. It's been a while. But hello out there, everyone who is here for Randomizer Land time. I am Demerine2, and of course, for this teaching stream of the Final Fantasy Randomizer, I have the distinct pleasure to be joined by my own personal randomizer mentor, my rival to a degree, my teammate always, and my very dear friend Silverfire. How are you tonight, Sil?
Hello, hello. Thank you. And yeah, tonight we're going to be going through this Final Fantasy randomizer seed with an approach to kind of teach the randomizer from a speedrun perspective, but also just if you're interested in randomizers for casual, like this is still this is still useful. So what are the goals of the Final Fantasy randomizer? So we're going to be picking our party of 4 characters, and we have to light the 4 elemental orbs because we hadn't figured out that these were crystals yet. And then go into the then once the 4 orbs are lit, we can go into the past and fight chaos. And in order to do that, we need to find a number of things. We need to find our modes of transportation about the world, and we need to find the key items that unlock each of the dungeons.
Yeah, and of course, there's a couple of different things that we're absolutely going to need to get around the world. We do need access to parts of the world, which will be either the ship, because we already start with the canal on these flags, interestingly enough, the canoe, and of course, more importantly, the floater stone, which will make things a heck of a lot faster. Also, we need the rod to enter Earth Cave. We need the Oxyale to enter the Sea Shrine, and we need the chime and the cube to reach Tiamat at the top of Sky Tower. There's a lot of work to be done, certainly. So, of course, we'll go through a lot of this as we go along, and these are flags based on the 2019 tournament flags recently. So, of course, Sil, what are kind of the rules of the game here in terms of what we're dealing with in terms of stats and enemies?
All right, so a number of things are randomized. Some things are shuffled, where you just take the items that were in the original game and just rearrange where they're placed. So the key items are shuffled. We're not going to list every single key item out, but many of them are in what we call incentivized locations, which means that the plot NPCs from the original game and many of the locations from the original game that would have given you a key item are still going to give you a key item, just which key item it is randomized. And then some of those key items, however, are going to be loose. They're going to be in a random treasure chest somewhere. For example, the loot that gives us access to the final dungeon could be in a random box somewhere. So we will unfortunately have to deal with loot boxes in this.
There will be a lot of treasure chests that are sadly going to get opened, which makes me sad as a speedrunner, but it is going to be very necessary, of course. Of course, there are going to be enemies out there in the world. There's a couple of things worth noting is that there is script shuffle, so all of the enemies get their scripts randomized within the enemies, and then the abilities in those scripts get randomized. So you might find imps casting Fire 3. You could find sorcerers that don't have Death Touch, thank goodness for small favors. And of course, since it's shuffled and not truly randomized, you know what abilities are out there. So once we see certain specific abilities, we can basically kind of cross those off mentally off our list of things that are going to make our lives miserable tonight. Be it Death Touch, Stone Touch, enemies with high-powered magic spells that are not out there, so on and so forth. But we do get one nice sort of advantage here, is that we know that the enemy shuffle scaling is 200%, as you can see in the actual stream title. So the enemies actually scale between half of their base strength and 200% of their base strength in any given statistic, except for magic resistance, which we'll get into later. And so we kind of know that some enemies will be weaker, some will be stronger, some will sort of mix it up a little bit. And our experience scaling, we start with double experience plus 100 for gold scaling, but we get 10% per key item, so you'll see me start gaining experience faster and faster as the run goes on, which will give us a little bit of safety, make sure that we can finish this run. But with a little bit of skill, we're going to finish this run very fast.
And so you've chosen a party with a fighter and then 3 mages. What are your thoughts behind that? Kind of what are each of these classes giving, and then what are we leaving behind by not taking the other 2 classes?
All right. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so actually, just before we describe that, just to let everybody know, 2020 AGDQ game submissions are open now. Please wait till the end of the run. Please wait till the end of Frame Fatales, but we will be very excited to hopefully, get everybody out there. So, but of course, so yes, what we're taking with us. So, of course, Tri-Mage is a sort of a kind of industry standard party. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit here because we want to get started in a couple of minutes. Just because it gives us coverage across all of the major magic spells. Plus, the Red Mage will let us double up on spells that we need in the early game. Plus, give us a second physical fighter because Red Mages are good at a little bit of everything. And we're taking a fighter because we need some sort of physical scaling to get out of control in the end game to kill off all of the bosses. So we're going to go with that. And just to shout out the 4 names there, of course, I had choice of names, and Syl and I talked a lot about sort of influential women in RPG speedrunning. We ended up deciding to go with, of course, Pidge01, who's been fighting for women's representation in all sorts of communities for years upon years. The legend herself, Tina Hacks, will tell you that she is very bad at video games. But she, of course, has run at multiple GDQs. She runs all sorts of games all over the spectrum, of course, letting her wear the red hat because she does a little bit of everything. Essentia, the creator of RPG Limit Break, or at least one of them. Without Essentia, you don't get Essentia's brother streaming either. So, of course, she, of course, is going to be protecting this party. She is a powerhouse in the community, has been forever. And, of course, the illustrious RPG chick who is good at randomizers. She's good at not randomizers. God, she runs basically anything and everything out there under the sun. And she's a wonderful person, of course. So, this is the team that we're taking into combat. Couldn't think of a better group to go with, but I think we're ready to rock this out at this point.
Yeah. All right, so I'll count you down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. First thing we're going to be doing is hitting up the magic shops. So one of the things that we hadn't gotten to is that magic is randomized. So we're going to see at level 1 white magic here, we've got heal 2, we've got harm 4. I don't know if any of these are worth, if you're going to take any of these right this second.
Well, I like heal 2, and I probably want it on the red mage, so I'm going to go ahead and try and buy it, except I can't. It's a little bit of a safety mechanism on red mages there, is that spell slots are locked based upon the actual progression through the original game. So there's actually a table that you can get out there, but basically certain spells are locked to certain classes at certain times. The major and important thing is that you don't get access to certain spells as a red mage.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be very problematic because, if Harm 4 were in slot 2, I couldn't learn it on the red mage ever. And that Harm 3 sitting at the bottom of the list, I'll only be able to learn on my red mage once I get class promotion later.
Yep. So the spells are basically all shuffled, so random 4 white magic and black magic spells will be at level 1, level 2, etc. So we're certainly hoping for some AoE damage spells such as Fire, Lightning, or Ice 3. Looking for the wonderful Nuke spell. We didn't get any of that here, but we did get Cake, which is actually Quake. And what that is, it's actually an AoE instant death spell. Unfortunately, all these early game enemies have nice low magic resist, so it'll be a reasonably reliable way to kill things.
Yeah, so I'm actually pathing a little bit specifically outside of Corneria in that there's a ton of safe tiles just outside of Corneria. The idea is I want to make progress to our first major goal in the game, which is Temple of Fiends. And what I'm doing is I'm doing a hard reset once I'm going to use a cabin to save, and then I'm going to hard reset once I get there. And we're going to start feeling out the encounter table a little bit. We are going to talk an awful lot about the encounter table because when you want to go fast in this particular randomizer, kind of understanding where the random encounters are matters because it is a fixed table. Ooh. Interesting gear here. So the idea is that you see that I have not yet gotten an encounter, which is fantastic because I now know that as I travel around the world, I am not going to see an encounter for many, many steps, and we are going to take very large advantage of this fact.
Yep. So basically, the way the encounter table in Final Fantasy I works, and this is used in the vanilla game as well, there's the randomness is kind of set in a certain way. There's a certain number of steps before the next encounter. And when you give a hard reset. You go back to the beginning. Oh dear.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a hard reset and run back in and grab the stuff because we still want it. But Garland, when we sense random script shuffle, right, means that there's dangerous stuff out there in the encounter tables. One of those things apparently is Garland casting Ice Fire 2 on our party and killing everybody instantly.
Looks like it's going to be a race between us casting our death spells versus Garland casting his spells.
Yep, well, thankfully, I've got a wizard staff, which I'm going to put on my white mage, because she can't do anything otherwise, really, in combat here. I'm going to pop a cabin outside here, because I have 2, because I'm going to make a little bit of money once I leave here. But the whole idea is that the wizard staff casts Confuse. It's a black magic spell that makes enemies act against themselves. And it's a heck of a lot of a better turn than white mage trying to swing a hammer. And we are going to reset every single time we see Fire 2, like this was Final Fantasy 1. And there we go. That's a little bit better turn order there. Quake is an instant kill spell, which works at a decently high rate and is Earth Elemental. But as you can see, we've instantly killed Garland, we've talked to Princess Sarah, and we've saved her. So now we're back here, and we're going to get our first 2 key items of the run.
Looks like we still haven't found any transportation items, but so that loot is an item I had mentioned that is used to get into the final dungeon. You need all 4 orbs. You need the loot. You need the key in order to get into the final dungeon. The crown is the crown from Astos, which we will.
Yep, it is the crown. It is the crown of Elfland, interestingly enough, and we are going to bring it to. We are going to bring it to the Elf King, who is absolutely and certainly not evil, and this is definitely not a spoiler. But we are going to save. We're a little bit behind schedule, as they say. Wiping the Garland a couple times is not always ideal for going fast, but we are going to, again, take that hard cycle here. I bought a handful of cabins. Reason I want a handful of cabins is we're going to do a handful of saves along the way to sort of keep things alive, and I'm pathing pretty particularly right now, in so much as that there are certain tiles that are dead in terms of encounters. They won't increase your encounter rate. Like those tiles around the dock, for example, are not pushing up my encounter rate, so we are making sure that we walk as efficiently as possible here. And, of course, once we cross a bridge, you can see the free canal there. There's a bridge over there that saves things, as we are going to get the credit roll. Which, of course, if you've seen in vanilla, of course, we do have the dev team here. You know, it's a big dev team for FF1. They've added a lot of features to it. You know, other contributors to the development team. I think you see Nicolette out there in chat. Hi, Nicolette. I think Leggy is not out there right now, but I'm sure she'll be here shortly as well. I know Leggy ran Pokemon TCG in this marathon and absolutely crushed it last I checked. So, you know, good on her. Now, we could do Astos right now. Syl, are we doing Astos right now?
I'm just a little bit worried about the high magic resist on Astos. This might take a few tries.
Yeah, so we are going to, we're going to hike past Northwest Castle. Astos isn't safe yet. Astos' high magic resistance means that Quake is highly likely to miss. And of course, with limited resources, we don't want to mess with that. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to travel down to our next town, which is Elfland, and we're going to try and pick up some experience points and money along the way so that we can buy some level 3 spells. Of course, Quake is not working, and I am very annoyed at this fact. Right, we need level 5 on our white and black mage to cast level 3 magic, which is a little bit annoying, and we are a little bit broke right now. Who rolled this seed? Fire... Like, fast is fantastic, but... Oh, this is the sauce, too. There's Cure 4. Boom. Am I... Wow. My options are really poor right now.
I think our options are Quaking Astos.
Yeah,
it's high enough accuracy that it's not minimum chance to hit. So
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to take a shot at it because I don't think we have a choice in the matter. I'm going to see if I can get a real sword. I sold the silver helmet because it's not a ton of defense. And I'm going to try and at least pick up a real sword for the fighter here because I'm going to need some help. Longsword will do nicely. Longsword is, like, I think the third best weapon you can buy in shops. Maybe second?
It's pretty reasonable.
It's no silver sword, but it's good. Silver sword's the best weapon that you can buy, and boy, is it pretty bad.
It's certainly not an endgame weapon that you'd be happy about.
Yeah, no. I mean, we were looking for a bridge at this point in time to get over to Provoca, because I really hope level 2 magic is good at this point. I need to buy Exit, but I don't want to buy it in the first slot, because I'm superstitious. You know what? To heck with it. Alright.
You're complaining about having Exit in the first slot to someone who just ran Final Fantasy Mystic Quest the other night?
You're not wrong. All right.
We don't get a choice where Exit is.
All right. So I bought some tents as well because you want to have as many save items as you can get your hands on before, especially before you get. Oh, I didn't buy tents. I'm not feeling good about this now. All of a sudden.
This is quite a good run for no encounters for like a good 50 steps before seeing our first encounter.
Astos, please. All right.
Wow.
So if we don't kill Astos, we're not unhappy here. We can get that later. Yeah, we are off to a flying start here, certainly, and by a flying start, I mean, this is a little bit ugly. Astos knows Frost is going to probably wipe the party real quick here. We'll come back later. The ruby is really unimportant right this second, because it opens up 4 treasure chests total, and, well, access to a cave that has Sarda in it, and he gives us a key item, so we're going to leave...
But... You know, we need the ship to get there, so we're not going to worry about that yet.
Yeah, so instead we're going to go and do some dungeon diving, and we're going to do some dungeon diving to very low level before I get Exit, because we are going to...
You were bragging to me about doing Marsh at level 3.
And you know what we're doing?
We're doing Marsh at level 3, aren't we? Why do we hate Marsh Cave so much?
Alright, so... Oh, well, first and foremost, that's Anoxia. We'll talk about that in a second, but we hate Marsh Cave so much! Because Marsh Cave is full of encounters. And when we say full of encounters, we mean a lot of different types of enemies. The problem here is that with more types of enemies, as you can see, we're getting cremated here. Another AoE ability. Wow, this is a really slow start of a seed. The major problem with that is that the more types of enemies that are in a dungeon, the more likely we're going to see really garbage encounters. And so I'm gonna reset off an encounter here. I know that the second encounter is really close to the first one, so I'm gonna reset past it. Why am I doing that, Sil?
So we mentioned earlier that a hard power cycle would set us back at the beginning of the string of fights. So we'll be back at 0, where like it takes 50 steps to get the next fight. If we soft reset, then we're just at the same location that we were prior to the reset. So, you know, we had however many steps and then took 2 fights, and then let's say then we're basically, our next encounter would be encounter 3. So now we don't see those gargoyles anymore. Instead, we saw some scums, we ran from them, and we weren't worried.
Yep, we are.
There is a quick question in chat about this graphics mod. This is a sprite swap called Valkyries of Light. It was made by another lady in the Final Fantasy Randomizer community, Terralyn. And she does some great sprite work.
Yeah, no, and I've been running with this sprite set for literally ever, basically. Oh, there's an opal helmet. Which is just, it's a good hat, but I can't use it till promotion, so we're gonna use that for money. But yeah, this is a great sprite mod. Terralyn's a great member of the community. She's been pretty quiet lately, and it makes me a little bit sad. But you know, that's how it goes. And yes, those are land lobsters. They're not actually scorpions. They're land lobsters. If anybody knows me and the memes that surround the Final Fantasy Randomizer, I apparently, in my travels, have learned to love the lobster. They are my favorite enemy in the game by far. I have embraced them as the savior of all. They are, we'll talk about them, they are tiny murder machines.
You don't sound very convincing.
They are going...
I'm not convinced that that lobsters are anything but tiny little murder machines.
That's what you're supposed to understand. Oh, spiders no Blaze! Blaze is the highest power fire elemental spell in the game. for an ability, and there's my party getting absolutely leveled. So we are seeing a lot of these really high-powered abilities early. Bad news, I'm dying a lot. Good news is, however... Oh, well, this is the end of this run. The good news, however, means that Blaze, which there's only one of in the table, we won't see again. This is awe-inspiring. Like, the problem here is that I have nowhere else to go right now. Right?
I really think that you should at least grab, like, snag level 5 somehow before doing this, just so that you can exit back out once you're done.
Yep. This is sort of where the decision tree of how many levels you want to have to do things comes into play. So I bought that exit spell, but it is completely useless in my inventory right now. So we're going to change tack a little bit. We're going to hang out here for a minute. And we are going to hope for encounters that aren't Geists. No, actually, we're going to kill these. We're going to head... XP. And we're going to hike back towards... Yep, and we are going to hike back towards... We're going to hike back towards Elfland. We are going to backtrack a little bit here. We gambled a little bit, right? The idea is that we were looking for something that we could take out easily. We're going to try and use that big hero run to dip through Marsh real fast, but it didn't work out. This happens, right? We make the kind of that sort of that push and pull is really, really important in regards to how you want to take encounters. And so we were not hoping to see things that were going to can open our party there, but we found a few. And so now we're sort of hiking back to Elfland because we need to refill our magic. You can only do that on the road with a house, or you can do it in towns that have an inn, which is, thankfully, all of them. I have some money now, too, actually, which will be great because I can buy some magic. I'm not sure where I am in the encounter table, so we're just gonna reset a couple of times, and we're gonna try and find a soft spot in the encounter table with a good encounter. This'll do. Yep, Gregory Puff is asking if we have no bridge. Yeah, we have no bridge yet. Bridge is not free in this seed, and I was hoping to snag it out of the north side there. Oh, I do have the canal.
Is that level 5 that we wanted?
Yep, we are now actually going to spend some of that ill-gotten money that we got from the north side of things, of the Marsh Cave, and we're going to grab Fast Rush and grab Fire. Not happy about that, but we're definitely doing that because we need some sort of offensive output from our... We need some sort of offensive output from our Black Mage because we have not gotten a single good spell yet at 1 or 3. I'm going to check 4 as well. There might be value in me grinding out 4 here. And of course, I'm leaving 2 white magic slots open for my red mage because I want both Cure 4 and Exit. Cure 4 is incredibly powerful. It is the best healing spell in the game, and much like in later Final Fantasies, it will heal your party, 1 member, to 100% of their health. There's the sauce right there at level 4, though. There's Fade at 4. Why am I real excited to see that all of a sudden?
So, thanks to 1987 Nintendo of America's localization, the Holy spell is considered a religious reference and therefore was removed from the US localization, and so Holy is Fade. It's in the vanilla game, it's a level 8 spell. It is a high damage spell. It's almost as high power as Nuke.
Yep.
And that's going to make our white mage into quite a powerhouse once she can cast it a few times.
Yep. We are going to take a moment here to be a little bit safe, probably. Actually, I'm going to try and catch it. I'm going to walk off a ton of steps because I kind of want to catch a couple of encounters on the way, but, like, by that same token, I really don't. Yeah, this is actually not great. I'm actually just going to hike it. That's unrunnable, and it's kind of bad. I'm trying to balance how many, because you don't have a lot of spell charges to start. We use the charge system because, as anybody will tell you, this is a glorified D&D campaign.
Yep. Final Fantasy 1 is cribs off of regular Dungeons and Dragons all over the place.
Yep.
So we use a spell charge system where we have X number of each level spell. And if you're out of a particular level of spell, it doesn't matter what you have of other levels. We don't have an MP fanciness going on here.
Can't chug a single ether in this video game, everybody. That's right. That's right, refilling magic on the road is not a thing you can do inside of dungeons, which comes to play later, too, because there's a couple of long ones out there. Oh, thank goodness for First Strike. First Strike, of course, is fantastic in this because it assures running away. It is the only thing that assures running away. It's great that it assures running away because we want to be running away. Speaking of which, we're not running away from this. We are going to try and get these swallowed up by the earth.
Use that wizard staff, though.
Yeah, I should be using that wizard staff as well. These are decently magic resistant, but as you can see, I picked off 4 right at the start, so things are a lot safer right now. Fancy and magic, but why? Because this is an old video game, and
because this is 1987.
This isn't so bad. But these aren't wizards, Sil.
They're not wizards. Those have been shuffled.
Yep, every single forced encounter tile, which we will be calling them forced encounter tiles tonight, have a forced encounter on them. I am required to take an encounter on this particular step. It happens to only be 5 bones, which are very weak, but this is one of those incentive locations that we were talking about. And we're going to pop this open, and we are going to find the Mystic Key. I hate life right now.
You know, I wouldn't complain too much about that this early, because that gives it a lot of boxes that we can open for goodies, but
there's 2 particular boxes I have to open now.
There are 2 particular boxes you have to open now. Which 2 boxes are you really thinking of there?
So there are 2.
Oh, the ones down there.
So these doors... please don't kill me so I can actually show this off, thank you. So, okay, well, Black Mage is dead. That's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. We're not panicking yet. I didn't buy heal potions. We're panicking. We found elemental waters. We're panicking a lot now. So
okay,
they're
opening up with fog too.
Hopefully they don't put any dents in my party and I actually can escape. Black Mage is our best part. Oh, that's right. Oh, well, that's awful. I'm not in love with this.
You know what? Maybe we're gonna get that key and we're gonna leave, and we're gonna just gamble on the rest of Marsh Cave.
Yeah, we're gonna ditch this place. All right, let's ditch this place. I didn't even open the chest because I am completely... I am in a full... Yeah. I am what we lovingly call in the randomizer community on full tilt right now.
Yeah.
This happens. This happens to the best runners. I have seen Crab Cakes, who is the #1 runner of this video game, defending tournament champion, and overall great lady runner of this particular game, go on complete and total tilt. She is normally completely unflappable.
Yeah, but when you always have, like, the thing about randomizers is we're pretty much always coming up with our next actions on the fly. Unlike a regular speedrun where you generally have everything pretty decently mapped out in terms of how you're going to approach the game, here, you know, just come up with everything on the road. And that kind of does mean that, you know, you don't have certain things just ready to automatically do. Nothing, there's no autopilot. So sometimes an autopilot takes over and you do something you didn't actually intend.
All right, good news, we're out of Marsh Cave and we saved, so our key is in hand. Our Oxyale, which is our first of 4 loose items and treasure chests, is in hand. And we're going to hike all the way back here, and we are safe. We made it. We're alive. We're well. We're going to bring our party back to life because having a party is super cool. And actually, interestingly enough, we found one of the really weird idiosyncrasies of the game. I think we've already found the Medusa script, by the way.
We did. There's one script of enemies that shows up on 3 enemies instead of 1. In the original one, it's Medusas, green Medusas, and Saurias, which are basically basilisks, all have they just spam the glance ability, which turns you into stone. Mm-hmm. But that particular script of abilities is instead apparently Fog 2 and Cremate.
And Cure 3 behind that Fog 2, so mostly annoying stuff. Alright, we're going to sell that Opal helmet we got because I want to have a little bit of extra money, and we're going to load up on consumables right now. Things have not gotten off to a great start in this seed, honestly. Again, my nominally aggressive play has sort of bit me on the butt a little bit here. I am not terribly happy about that fact, but we're going to go grab Fate on our Red Mage 2 while we're at it. Which is about 1,700 gold, so I try to keep track of that.
Question in chat: Randomizer should work on EverDrive. That's correct. It does. Some of our community does play on EverDrive for their regular races. Emulators also accepted for the racing communities. But we are like, this is, so it's a randomizer based on the original game, and the sprite edits are called Valkyries of Light, which are available on they're available on romhacking.net, and it's actually a sprite edit that you can also apply to the base game if you just want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I need level 8, I believe, for my level 4 magic, if my memory serves.
Yep, those key items you got will contribute to that, though, because it's plus 10% EXP per key item we found.
Yep, but first and foremost, though, we're going to hike and we're going to grab... we're actually just going to try and sweep up some items here, because I'm feeling terribly unpowerful right now, and I can probably use a dangerous weapon of some flavor. So we're going to pop these chests open in here. They're locked, but we're going to pop them open. We are looking for a bridge still. We're looking for a ship still. We're not looking for dragon mail, but we'll take it. But there's the bridge. That's a good sign. And as you can see, when you talk to the doors, that actually tells you that it's locked by the Mystic Key and lets you know that you can't get in here. There are also 2 forced encounter tiles in there, and we are not touching those with a 20-foot pole right now because my party is pathetic.
Once we get access to that Fade spell, maybe we'll peek at them again and see if there's something that we can grab a few easy levels on. Yeah.
Because we are going to want to do a little bit of grinding sort of to kind of keep up with it. It's a little bit faster to grind than it is on a forced encounter tile than it is to sort of fight as you go, and there's strategies that involve both. But right now, we're going to try and... Oh, hey, look at that. We're going to keep popping these boxes open because that's the ship, which is our main method of traversal and makes me a little bit happy and a whole lot sad.
Why does it make you sad?
Because there is a flag called Extended Open Progression, which is for the randomizer. It allows for a much more open view of the world, basically. It's why we could walk across from Corneria to Dwarf Cave here. Yep. It also adds docks to the map. It adds a dock to the map at the Ryakan Desert where we get the airship. It adds a dock at Onrak. And it adds a dock at the Sky Tower desert. Which, of course, means that there's a chance that I may have to sail the 7 seas to finish this seed.
Yep, but we still are looking for the canoe and the stone, which gives us access to the airship in terms of being able to get to the rest of the world. We're looking for items to get into Earth and Sky, but we have the Oxyel to get into Sea. Nothing is required to get into the volcano other than being able to get to the physical volcano location, which is in the rivers near Crescent Lake.
And we're going to keep resetting. We're going to keep hard resetting to take advantage of this encounter table so I can get to places, but we are going to Provoca.
Let's see some pirates.
All right, pirates have a key item because they had the ship in the vanilla game, and so they are going to help us out a little bit. But first, all right, game, you know what I want. I've asked for nothing tonight so far. This game has taken from me a lot. There's level 2 nuke, right? All right, level 3 elemental magic. Can't complain. Not complaining.
It's not nuke, but it is those are pretty high damage spells.
Speaking of good spells, though.
Ooh, life and cure 3 as well.
Yeah, once we promote our fighter to knight, we are going to have access to life magic on the knight, so we are going to be able to go full Hydra party. This is going to be incredibly safe. And we're going to grab Lit 3 here on the red mage and life. So we are very, very well protected right now, at least from... Our later game is going to be really solid. We also picked up the Dragon Mail earlier, which is the best armor in the game. We can't equip it just yet. It gives protection from fire, ice, and lightning, which, when we talk about protection, talk about resistance, it's actually super, super important.
Yeah, it works kind of weird because it's it's basically an invisibly applied benefit that different armors give you. But the way magic works in this game, both damaging spells and non-damaging spells will roll to hit you. And when you have resistance, that the base chance for it to hit you is 0 instead of, I think it's 148 out of 200.
Yep. And of course, when damage spells hit, they do double damage. So
yeah, because this is D&D, so you save for you saving throw for half.
Right. Now the big thing though is that also when you have something that gives true resistance to something, not only is it never going to hit you except in very rare circumstances, if it's a damage spell, you also take half damage yet again. So you end up taking basically a quarter damage, which is why earlier when we were getting cremated, my fighter was taking 20 damage and everybody else was taking 80. Because my fighter with the ice shield with resistance to fire was able to protect against all of that additional damage. So, Silverfire.
Yes.
We have options right now. Treasure chests.
Options. Have we picked up the treasure chests in all the key locations other than Marsh?
We grabbed them in Elfland, we grabbed them in Corneria, and we picked them up in Astos' Castle of Northwest. So, we've gotten everything except for the ones in Temple of Fiends at this point, and I like skipping those.
Yeah, they do have a forced encounter tile right on top of them.
Yep, and we don't know what that is right now. We have 2 different options right now. Well, we have a lot of different options. How many tents do I have? 18? Oh, we're good. We're gonna go and sail due to the west for a little bit. And the reason for this consideration right now is that we are gonna chase key items a little bit. We are hoping to get a little bit lucky. We're hoping to find the floater stone. Like, I'm not gonna lie. You know, there are things in this life which are good, but the floater is truly best in life. And so we are gonna sail all the way across the world. So we're going to continue pretty far to the west here. We're gonna sail around the world. We're going to skip a town right now, because up north of us is Melmond, and we don't care about Melmond right now. We're gonna sail on by Earth Cave. Say hi to Earth Cave, everybody. It's right up there. You can't see it.
We're not going there right now.
We're really not going there right now.
Get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we need the rod to get to the bottom of it. Earth Cave is basically one of the most evil dungeons in the game early on, because it ends up doing... So when you talk about, like, the different types of enemies, right, and the concept of enemy spreads is that, you know, the more different enemies there are, the worse it is, and Earth Cave is very diverse in its encounter table. So we're looking for places which are a little bit less diverse in their enemy spreads here. So we're looking for access to Volcano, maybe. Sea Shrine, interestingly enough, can be a good thing, and we might just have to sail there soon enough. But we're also going to be checking all of the item shops, because we're looking for one particular key item. One key item is available in a shop in the game, and so we're trying to kind of check that out.
I would say that we probably want to grab a couple more levels and then go back and kill Astos when it's convenient to. Fortunately, there's a south dock at Elfland that would give us easy access to that without having to sail all the way back into the inner sea. There's a nuke, and also the temper spell. The temper spell is it buffs your weapon damage, and that's going to be heavily used later on in the game when we're going into the final dungeon in particular. Because those final bosses get pretty beefy, and the general strategy there is to buff the fighter. And the fighter is going to be our biggest single target damage output once the fighter has a great weapon, and once she has some more levels to get multiple hits. Then what Temper does is it adds 14 to 28 damage per hit, and when the fighter's doing 4 hits, that damage piles up real high.
All right. I think we're going to search for a specific encounter out here right now. We're pretty deep in the encounter table here, but we are looking for one particular encounter in this particular zone. We are looking for Peds. Peds are generally decently high hit points, and they could really roll super high, but they're fairly susceptible to getting quaked. Why?
Why are they susceptible to getting quaked? Well, they don't really have that much magic resistance. They don't have resistance to the earth element. Are they actually weak against the earth element?
No, they're not weak against the earth element. They're just not resistant. They also know cremate.
Yikes. Oh,
Rip.
but they don't have too much health, fortunately.
Yeah, we're gonna lightning 3 a bunch of them anyways. But rip black mage, rip red mage. Can you please hit the target? All right, one more swing. So good news, we're gonna get fade on our white mage.
That's the important part. The
right,
white mage can blow everything up now.
Right, white mage knows fade. This is very good. We're gonna take a couple of resets here because we want to try and keep the encounter table where it is. We are gonna actually we have life magic too. We're just gonna do it this way. We have 1 charge of fade now, but we're gonna try and get a couple of extra charges here. This is pretty awful right now, honestly. What are my options at the moment?
I think that with this fade, I think we should go back and beat up Astos.
Okay.
And get that ruby, and then we can take that ruby and get to Sarda through the Titan's Tunnel.
Excellent. So we're gonna try and catch a couple of encounters along the way here because I want experience points really desperately right now. We're hoping that these trolls don't have a ton of hit points. These have about like 180 base, so they're probably not gonna have 360, right? All right, we're in good shape.
They did not appear to have 360 because that as we mentioned earlier, the 200% means that enemies can have anywhere from half to double their original stats. And this is really the encounter we want to see, as long as we can blow it up before those cremates come out.
I am actually pumping my fist right now at that particular outcome because we needed those levels pretty badly. All right, so we're
got several level ups on each party member.
Yep.
And now we're in good shape to go look at other places.
All right, so we are going to chase that ruby that we know is there. Like, we're going to use the knowledge that we got from talking to
sail down
Astos.
to the south dock of Elfland.
Yep, because I still want to stay outside of everything. I do need to continue hiking it this way. Nope, I want a tent, thank you. But we're going to sail past Marsh Cave. Marsh Cave is terrible. We hate this place. And we are going to... There is a south dock at Elfland, which is actually part of the vanilla game, intriguingly enough.
There are already people in chat cheering us on to dive into Ice Cave. We unfortunately can't get to Ice Cave. We don't have the canoe.
Unfortunately, you say.
Unfortunately, I say.
I'm going to take 2 extra steps and not get into the town because I misstepped. Unfortunately, they say. All right, we're gonna.
So Ice Cave is scary for a lot of the same reasons that that Earth Cave is scary. There's a very diverse pile of enemies. There's a lot of packs that have 6 to 9 enemies showing up, which is particularly scary because that's a lot of different chances for something to blow up your party.
Yep, and we really don't want to get blown up right now. I'm really tired of getting blown up. We're hoping that there's going to be a really high-powered grind tile in here because I really want to get out of control in a hurry right now. All right. Yep. Also, everybody, just so you're... Please, just... Yeah, don't use the particular word that is getting you timed out things. But yeah, we are going to go ahead and kill Astos, and we're going to add the ruby to our inventory permanently, and we're going to check the forced encounter tiles in here. The reason being is that I really desperately, hopefully want to find something that's going to let me get powerful in a hurry without being super dangerous. So there's 2 in there in front of the chest, so we're going to grab this one for... hi! We're good. I'm good. You're good. We're good. Everything is cool. Hi, friends.
Agama, the standard unit of experience in Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, we are going to meme like crazy right now, everybody. If ever you've seen Gyre stream this game, it's time. It's time for Agama Facts. Man. I don't have any Agama Facts tonight, but, you know, we're going to take a bunch of levels here. We're going to wish we had houses. I'm going to go buy houses. As you can see, we got just 2 levels on everybody here. How many spell charges do I have left? I've got 2 lightning 3s. I've got some quakes. I'm not in love with this, but we can take 1 more of those. They're pretty safe.
Use that confused staff since the white mage is out.
White mage is tapped out. We're gonna beam these 1 more time here. Yes. Yes, the Agama facts fill me with power. They're decently heavy hitters, and they've killed the White Mage, which I'm actually really happy about right now.
Why would you be happy that they kill a certain member of your party?
So, experience is distributed across the living members of the party at the end of combat. If you're dead... how do we do this here? I think we cure for the Red Mage for safety. Because I desperately want the levels on the Red Mage. The fighter needs to survive too, so it's kind of a little bit worrisome, but we're going to do it this way. Alright. So we're good now. And now you're going to see that the fighter and the Red Mage are going to pump up to level 15. That's fantastic. That's awesome. All right, so we found our first most major saving grace of this particular run is that there are free Agama, and we are going to obliterate them a lot. They also give a ton of money, by the way. And we're checking armor shops for 2 particular pieces of armor that I can buy. We're looking for gold bracelets and pro rings. Hello, pro rings.
There's pro rings. Pro rings give us death resistance.
They
which
also
sounds a lot better than it actually is, because unfortunately, as I was talking about elements earlier, to death will make abilities that have the death element have a base 0% chance to hit, plus like whatever small amount of accuracy minus your magic defense. It usually ends up being that they have a 0% chance to hit. Yeah. Unfortunately, most of the death spells in this game are not actually death element.
Funny how that works out. There's one that's time element. There's one that's, as we see, Quake is earth element.
Yeah, there's the one that's time element. It's zap.
Yep. There is Rub is death element, and that's what Astos uses in the vanilla game. Rub is real bad. All right,
odd because Rub isn't even the lowest level. Instant death magic in the base game.
Yep.
The ones that are lower, there are ones that are lower level than it that are more accurate than it, and also AoE.
Yeah, it's pretty awful actually. All right, so we got the ruby. We're gonna turn that in, like Sil said just a minute ago. So we're gonna sail around a little bit more.
Yeah. Question in chat: is Crack Earth element too? It actually is.
Crack is
Bane is poison element.
Yep. Crack is in the regular enemy pool, by the way. Crack is an interesting ability because it's in the regular enemy pool because of sandworms. But sandworms have 4 instances of it because scripts for enemies are 4 or 8 long, whether they're skills or spells.
It actually got nerfed to 2 just so that there'd be fewer enemies that can use an AoE spell that wipes your party and is very difficult, of a very difficult element to get resistance to. Yeah,
basically it's real powerful, and so the devs cut 2 of them out. They also cut 2 of a different instant death spell out, which was Toxic. We're gonna grab 1 copy of Warp here, because we're gonna dive Ice Cave eventually, right?
Eventually.
Alright. Take a save here. We didn't want to be on the boat, but thank you anyway. And we're gonna hike over here to see Friend of the Community, well-loved member of the community, very hungry member of the community.
We're doing those hard power cycles. You see the power on down there. That putting us back at the 0 steps taken, since there's a good 50 steps or so before we see our first encounter.
It's
and
good
we can basically just keep walking those same 50 steps and not see any encounters on the overworld.
You know what? I like feeding the Titan so much, I'm going to feed the Titan a second time.
Yeah, those were some garbage items in those boxes.
Yep, and so we're going to reset out of them because it's faster than trying to keep them and get out because, you know, if we don't want it, we don't want it. And those are really, really trashy. Yeah, 6 gold. Yeah, 6 gold is great! Alright, Sarda.
Hi, Demon Frog. We had a couple accidents in Marsh Cave.
Well, we got the slab. That's great. I'm gonna go back to Melbourne and get it translated, because I need to go learn a new language. Floater. No, I'm not getting the floater this seed. Oh man, no floater stone at 42 minutes. Not a jet seed, that's for sure. Can't even get to, I can't even properly get to Ice Cave or Volcano yet. I know where I can go, though.
Where can you go?
Northwest Castle, everybody. And then Sea Shrine. But first, Northwest Castle. The slab translation does thankfully not include a horrible curse other than having to travel into Melmond.
Traveling to Melmond could be considered a horrible curse.
It is.
That's
It is
a long walk.
I mean, well, let's speed up the way out. Just remember that we have magic in our back pocket here, and let's teleport. So I need levels.
You need to start using tents.
I mean, I am using tents. It's just catching the one encounter because my C count is off there. Corneria had houses, right? Do I have money yet? Oh, I'm broke again. That's bad.
Well, that's okay. We'll beat up some Agamas and then go back, right?
How's my magic situation? Oh yeah, I'm fresh up on magic, which is great. So we're gonna start. We're gonna leave our boat up here at Dwarf Cave because I'm here. Would have been faster to leave it at Elfland because I'm gonna sail around the world in a minute.
So, yeah, question in chat about the floater. We kind of really want the floater, but it is not technically required because of the extended open progression flags, which adds a couple docks makes a couple map modifications. It adds a passageway to Dwarf Cave from Corneria by land. It adds a passageway that you can walk in between the rivers from Dwarf Cave south to Elfland. And then it adds a dock at the airship location at Ryukon Desert. It adds a dock at Onrak, and it adds a dock at the desert of Mirage Tower, which leads up to Sky Castle.
Yep. The only two places I cannot access there's only two places in the game that require the airship absolutely. And those are Gaia, which is where we turn in the bottle, and Lafine, where we turn in the slab. Well, actually, we don't turn in the slab. We turn in our knowledge of the Elven language to get an item, but...
Yeah. The other place that we can't really get, but doesn't necessarily get a key item, is we can't get to Bahamut without the airship, and Bahamut, when you turn the tail into him, allows you to class change. So if we don't ever find the floater, even if we do find the tail, we still won't be able to class change.
All right. I want to push about level 20 here. I might not be able to get it this volley, though, because my party members are alive.
Oh yeah, there's one more map progression we didn't mention, which is that the river systems from ice to volcano are actually connected with open progression. So if we had the canoe, we would be able to canoe all the way around the inner sea. But we don't have the canoe, so that doesn't really apply.
We're out of fade charges. You've got 2, and you've got 2. All right.
Question about how ATB works in this. Basically, it's just round by round. It's not actually an ATB system. But you input your 4 commands, then it randomizes everybody up, and everybody takes 1 turn, and then it goes back to entering commands again.
Yep, and the major thing about that is that actually in the vanilla game, if ever you've seen the vanilla game, what it does is it puts the enemies in the table first and then puts you in the table and only randomizes it like 5 or 7 times. It does not shuffle the deck terribly often, and the randomization is it takes 2 items in the list and flips them around. The randomization in the vanilla game is really bad, and usually involves the enemies going first a lot.
Yep.
Thankfully, they improved that algorithm in this so that we don't die horrendously. We don't die horrendously. Alright, we're going to Sea Shrine. Level 18 is pretty safe, right?
Yeah,
I've got lightning.
Not bad.
I've got Lightning 3.
You've got Lit 3. You've got Fade. We probably should get some cabins or houses before we go up there.
We'll grab them in Onrak. I'm sure they're there.
You're sure?
We only saw them in one town, and they're in 3. I'm sure they're up there.
Okay, fair. That is something I hadn't taken note of.
I could be wrong, though. I might have miscounted. I have been known to do that. All right, but we're going to sail around the world in the other direction now. That's right, we're going to go south to north. Why? Controller, please. Controller. Going a little bit to the left there is not the end of the world, because, you know, we've got tents. We're going to pop one here so that we don't get another encounter on the way to where we're going. But we're going to stop in beautiful, sunny Onrak, home of the Onrak Summer Vacation. which was just actually our most recent event that just completed, interestingly enough. And this is one of those docks that doesn't exist in the vanilla game, but we're going to park it right there. And we're going to park our ship, and we're going to walk up to Unrack. It's not my controller, it's my nerves. See, look, houses. And look, the tail for sale is 32,000 gold. We're not buying that right now. Not until
we want to afford a few houses and a stack of... do we already buy a stack of heal potions?
We did. I need to reload on pure potions. I used 6 of them. And we are going to stop off in the inn here, because I want to reload real quickly without using one of my houses I just bought. And we're going to cycle the encounter table back to the start, and we are going to go into the water. Welcome to my favorite dungeon in this video game, led by my favorite Fiend of the Elements, and my favorite, literally everything. It is the Shrine of the Sea. There is a key item in here on these flags in the mermaid chest. It's the slab in the vanilla game. So if you've seen the vanilla game, you know that there's an item all the way down here, and it is an incentive tonight. We're going to skip some chests along the way because we're feeling spicy, and they're a hike to get to, and even with this great encounter table.
Ghosts are a little scary, mostly just because they hit real hard.
Uh-huh. There, we're gonna point some harm for at them because they are ghosts, they're undead, but they are the hardest hitting enemy in the game other than Phantom and Chaos. Alright. But we're gonna mop them up because we don't like them, and we're gonna cast some Cure 4 because it's faster.
As long as you don't actually cast Exit.
I can cancel it if I do, thankfully. Hooray for quality of life. The devs saw fit that it would be a good idea to let us cancel exit casts. We normally can't. Alright. No encounters and a ton of treasure chests on this floor. So we're hoping to get something good here. So far, everything is garbage. I always forget where all the chests are because I'm super nervous. It's 2, 2, and 2. Oh, hey! That's a thing.
Wow.
I'll toy with that in a minute. So one of the things that we are looking for to kill Chaos is an endgame weapon.
We just found one.
And there's a lot of community members who like to meme about swords and all that, but we're not all about that life here. We're all about getting the tool that requires getting the tool that gets the job done. And there is only one tool that gets the job done here.
It is the Masmune. So truncated because there was a 7-character limit for...
Yep. It has the highest base damage of any weapon in the game. It has a 10% base critical rate, which is pretty decent. And, of course, it has the highest hit rate. And hit rate's, like, super, super important in this game. Wow. That's actually amazing.
Getting the canoe here is actually a real nice find. That gives us access to the waterfall, not too far away from here.
We're actually going to go there right now because we can. We're going to leave the second half of this dungeon behind. But the canoe all the way at the bottom at Sea Shrine. What a good game this is.
Are you sure this thing floats?
We're going to find out in just a second. It's fine. I'm super excited that I get to show off Waterfall tonight, though. So, our devs, they've done some experimental things with this video game as well. So, if anybody remembers Waterfall Cave, in the vanilla game, you go in, there's some windy paths, you go all the way to the left, and at the end there's a robot who gives you the cube. But we're going to go in here, and you're going to notice that things look a little bit odd. This is not the path that you might have known in the vanilla game. This actually isn't even close to the path that you know in the vanilla game, because Waterfall has been procedurally generated. That's right. This is, I believe this is Leggy's particular baby, Leggy Starscream, and this is her big thing. Oh, I see the end already. We're going to reset, and we're going to save the encounter table. But basically, it makes the map of Waterfall random every single time. So it adds a little bit more randomness to our randomness. But the room still looks the same. The room is still 6 chests and all, so we are going to go ahead on in here.
There's a spike tile or a forced encounter tile right here.
I do have a Mazamune, right? I'm basically...
Did you equip the Mazamune?
Of course not. I'm not going to fight these anyway.
Oh, it's great imps.
Of course I didn't. Of course I did. I'm good at this game. Relax. All right, Pro Ring, we just bought a set. There's the Excalibur. There's the other endgame sword. Interesting because it's been fixed in this, because it's supposed to hit every enemy weakness.
The TNT, which would be a long sail back to Dwarf Cave to give them the TNT that they're looking for. And we can warp out or exit out.
Does not matter because Waterfall is one floor. But now we're really, really trying to... We're trying to make some really quick dives here. I have the option to finish C while I'm here, which is efficient, and I think it's safe enough. So we are going to go ahead and take our business down, and we're going to fight the first fiend that we can find. We are going to dip down, and we're going to go and take out Kraken. There is a saying that I personally love in my own runs of this game, which is more nuke charges than sense. We don't have nuke charges, we've got fade charges, but boy, do I not have very much sense.
We also have some lit 3s, you know, and a fast spell, which will buff that Mazamune.
Yeah, we're in fantastic shape, I think, right now. We're not terribly in love finding ghosts down here again. We're gonna burn your turn because I don't care. I should have run, but I want these experience points. Ghosts are worth great experience, and Arm 4 kills them. Oh, that's beautiful. Yep. All right.
Arm 4, I think, can do up to 280 damage if it gets the double. So it's 70 to 140, and then can be doubled to 140 to 280 if it hits the accuracy roll.
And, of course, the undead don't resist harm magic at all, so we are going to happily fire away.
Trusty, there's definitely been thoughts into procedurally generating the overworld. It is a little tricky because the way that the overworld is stored in the data in this game is actually compressed slightly, which is not the case in Dragon Warrior 1, which made it much easier to accomplish that in the Dragon Warrior 1 randomizer code.
Lobsters, why do you betray me by not letting me run? You know what I must do now, friends.
They don't want you to leave them.
They do love me.
They want to hug you.
They're not going to get the chance. But we do want to grab the treasure chest while we're down here, so we are going to...
Is harm 480 not 70? I might be incorrect.
I'd have to double check. But we found the Shirt of Black down here. It is a shirt that is imbued with elemental magic. It lets you cast Ice 2 as a use item action, which we're going to do a lot of on our white mage, because she really can't do much else at this point.
Yeah, if we're trying to preserve those fade charges, so we don't want to just throw those every single encounter. This gives her a way to contribute offensively without having to burn those.
Yep, and so we are going to just take out some lobsters and sea snakes. I'm not sure if this means that they're going to be unrunnable in TOF at this point, but we'll talk about that later. Seriously? I know Lightning 3, we're good. I'm actually going to burn a Fade Charge here, too. Iron Golems. You've never seen these before. I'm not kidding. If you've played this video game as a kid, you did not see this enemy. It is a 1 in 64 encounter on the very last floor of the game. 7,777 experience, that's auspicious. But you literally did not see those. Why are they in the Sea Shrine? Because the forced encounter tiles are all mixed up and ready to rock. We are gonna cure up our black mage here. We are gonna cure up our red mage here. We are gonna burn some potions, and we're gonna realize that I practiced menuing this way too much. But yes, the forced encounter tiles are shuffled, and additional encounters are shuffled into the table that are not normally in the game. So it actually adds a lot of strategy. Like that 4 Agama tile we found is not in the vanilla game. The Agama tile is 1 to 2.
I think it's actually just 1.
It might just be 1.
Ooh, there is a ribbon.
We like ribbons. So we talked about resistance, right?
Yeah, ribbon gives you resistance against everything. So the Final Fantasy ribbon trope actually goes all the way back to Final Fantasy 1. This
Yep.
ribbon gives us resistance to all 8 elements. So we have the damaging elements, fire, ice, and lightning. Then we have the status element, the poison element, the earth element, which is only used on instant death spells. It's not actually used on any damage spells. And the time element. And the death element. So it gives us resistance to all of those. And it's usually considered a soft requirement for beating the game, just because there are so many nasty spells that you need resistance to, particularly in the final boss pool, which is a separate set of skills and spells from the pool of skills and spells that are used for regular enemies.
Yep. And so what ends up happening, of course, is that you desperately want a ribbon because Zap is in that pool and Bane is in that pool, and element spells of every sort are in that pool. There's like 19 versions of Lightning 2. Thanks, Kraken. You're awesome.
I mean, to be fair, that Lightning 2 is kind of the thing you're really happy to see in that pool, because it doesn't hurt nearly as much as, say,
literally
Nuke.
anything else. No, we definitely want to see Lightning 2s. But those lobsters have to die, sadly, because they're impeding my progress. Over tap there, cure 4 there. Alright, and we are almost done with the Sea Shrine here. Things go faster as we start getting kind of through the game because things are safe. I am absolutely taking this encounter, by the way. And Big Eye is one of the most experience-laden enemies in this video game. And we are very happily going to scoop that up as we go here, because we really want as much experience as we can get our hands on as we go along here, because I don't really want to do any more grinding, but I absolutely want to have level 24. There's a reason for that one in particular. But swords have breakpoints, where you get more hits, and more hits means more damage, because this is Dungeons and Dragons, everybody. So what ultimately ends up happening here is, nope, that's a Fade. I'm sorry, you know Fade. You don't. You're gonna cast Fast. So Fade, of course, is going to do decent damage here. Hopefully 244 is great. Fast doubles the amount of hits you get, so instead of swinging 4 times, my fighter now swings 8.
Hits with 7 of those, and then unfortunately gets stunned.
Oh, we are going to take advantage of one of the idiosyncrasies of this game, which is that when you cast Cure 4 in combat, what ends up happening is that all status effects are also cleared. Not that we needed it. So that is our first orb, our first of our 4 major goals, first of our 4 major dungeons. So we still have access to Sky.
Yeah, we have the access to the lower part of Sky. We have that TNT. Buy the tail. Go buy the tail. We have money.
We have money. I'm not broke anymore. We killed Iron Golems. I have a pile of cash. I have like infinite dollars. We're also buying the tail because it's an additional 10% experience, which is, you know, even if I don't get to promote the seed, it's still real good. We're gonna reload on those real fast. We're gonna grab some of these, and we're gonna grab a couple more houses. All right, and we are gonna leave, and we are gonna pop another cabin here. All right. So we have the TNT that we need to chase down. We haven't turned that in yet. We've turned in the crown. We've turned in everything else. So we're crossing continents again. I'm not terribly happy about that, but it's kind of the play here.
Question in chat, is there a non-rando version with the quality of life enhancements? There actually is. There's even a preset on the randomizer called Improved Vanilla. Which is pretty much that. I think it also slightly buffs the EXP that you get.
Yeah,
but
so you're
other than that, it's the vanilla game.
Mm-hmm. All the spells.
It has all the spells working, because there are several spells in the original game that just don't work. Temper is actually one of them.
Temper is the most important by far.
There's the let's see, what else does it fix? It fixes a bug where when you use a house and then reset, it doesn't remember that you regained your MP. It fixes a bunch of other bugs like that. fixes the turn, like makes turn order actually random instead of massively favoring the monsters.
Yep, it fixes weapon critical rates, it fixes... That is not a floater stone, but it is a chain item.
I heard you like fetch quests.
If you like fetch quests, boy, do I have a video game for you. Would you? Oh. So would you like to do a fetch quest?
I guess we're doing a fetch quest.
It doesn't have to be a fetch quest. Actually, it kind of does. So the herb is what we use to wake up the King of Elfland, well, the Prince of Elfland. He's taken a nap, so we're gonna hit him in the face with this herb, and we're gonna get the Power Gauntlet. I'm not too happy about that, but we'll take what we can get, I guess. Power Gauntlet lets us cast Saber in combat. So, you know we said Temper increases your damage by a small amount?
Saber increases it by a slightly larger amount, but only on the caster. I believe it's 16 to 32 per swing.
Yep. Which is still real good. But the thing is that you don't necessarily want to be buffing with your fighter. You don't necessarily want to be burning those turns that way. Power Gauntlet lets you move boulders. We'll go with that. We basically don't want to use it to buff. Alright, we are going to sail around the world again, because we are now going to go do Sky Tower.
We have the canoe. We can go to... We can go to
Volcano and Ice, and we have Warp. I like Sky Tower, though. We have options here. This is where the game gets interesting, right? We could always go do, we've had access to Sky for a while now. We also have access to Ordeals, but interestingly enough in these flags, because they are based on last tournament's flags, it's not incentivized. The tail chest doesn't have anything for me. Or at least it has something, but it's not guaranteed to be a key item in the key item pool.
That doesn't mean the floater isn't there.
I would hate life if it were, though. But we're going to go up this way. Randomizers are definitely full of sorrow for the most part. Every decision is bad, and we're going to make them all. We're going to see if we get a vanilla floater stone today, because, you know, Ice Cave.
This is a Final Fantasy Randomizer for the NES. And with the Valkyries of Light sprite mod, which is actually, it's also something you can apply to the original game.
Right, and of course, if you're enjoying this content, and of course all the content from the Frame Fatales this week, which has been amazing, like, go watch the VODs on YouTube. But also, just keep in mind your subscriptions and bits are what fuel the ability for GDQ to run stuff like this. And so, of course, we would love to see you donate so that we can keep running all of these wonderful, wonderful things on this wonderful, wonderful channel. All right, so we're going to engage in something called Run and Nuke. So when we have enemy packs like this, running, of course, ends combat. And ending combat is really good, because combat is slow and bad. And we don't really need the experience right now, because I could always just go fight Agama, because I'm terrible. But instead, we're going to have one character fire off an AoE spell, and we're going to have everybody else head for the hills and run for their lives if we can sweep the enemies with one sweeper spell.
Yep. And basically we're doing that so that, because we want to get out of that combat as soon as possible, and we don't really care how that happens.
Yep.
If that happens because somebody succeeds in their runaway chance, great. If everybody fails the runaway chance, it's nice to have killed off most or all of the enemies with that person casting the AoE spell.
So, you know, we've got Warp right now.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have Warp in the Ice Cave when you're going to get the floater, because Warp in the vanilla game requires that you class change.
Yeah, but since we have Warp, we're going to cheat. We're going to jump down that hole. Right. I am cheating, dang it. We're going to cheat a little bit here. We're going to jump down that hole, and we're going to look, and we're going to cast the Warp spell. Warp back one floor, yes please. Now look where I am. Now if I look to the left, there's a treasure chest. If I look to the right, there's a treasure chest with a rod in it? That's not even the incentive chest. That's great. Ice Cave is fantastic. I love this place.
You hate this place.
Oh,
Don't
God, I
lie.
hate this place so much. And if we look
What?
down, we find an opal bracelet, which is actually part of the incentive pool, but of course is also the best armor in the game for casters. And we're gonna equip that to the black mage, because our black mage is very well not terribly defended. And we're gonna go this way. We're gonna hit this encounter tile, and it's a gray shark, and we don't really care. So most of the treasure chests in here, the diversity that Ice Cave also has is that Ice Cave also has the most different forced encounter tiles in the game. There are it's one on the top floor there. There's two in the floater stone room. There's one here to the left. There's one down below for 4.
5.
And there's the drop through for 5.
There's the drop through. There's the 3 on this floor, counting the drop through.
Yep. There's the 2 up above.
Yeah.
So
And
we don't care about any of them because we found Agama. But we still need to pop open all of these treasure chests because we've only found 2 of the 4 possible key items in treasure chests right now. So we still have work to do.
Yep, and we're still hoping for that floater.
We are definitely still hoping for that floater. That floater would be...
How much you want to bet it's down in Marsh Cave?
It's in Sky. It's on Sky 3. I know it. It's always on Sky 3. If it's in Marsh Cave locked, I'll be so annoyed.
Could be an Earth in the bottle chest.
Yes, the bottle chest. So throughout our play of this video game, lots of things have happened in tournaments, and lots of moments have happened throughout our time playing. And there's a particular chest that has been monikered the bottle chest because of a tournament match that I was in, interestingly enough. Where there was not supposed to be any key items loose in chests, but somehow it turned out to be that there was one. Because of how the old randomization worked, there was a little bit fuzzy at points. It made a little bit of a mistake, and it accidentally incentivized the bridge. It's a long story, but it turned out that the bottle was loose in the world. Now, Sky Tower, which we had access to at that point in the race, has 50 treasure chests in it. So if you're going to go looking for a loose item, 50 chests is almost a quarter of the treasure chests in the video game. So you'd go to Sky Tower, right? That makes a ton of sense. However, we also had a run that was very similar to the one that we have at the start of this particular seed, where we could go very far off of one reset. And there are 5 treasure chests very close to the start of Earth Cave, on Earth Cave Floor 1. We normally never get them in speedruns. We try to ignore them in the randomizer. They're not in a great place, but I wasn't feeling good. I felt like I was behind. So
Yeah, likewise, also like the start of this run, there was some early game wiping.
It was a really ugly Earth Cave. Like, bad things were happening left and right. And so what ends up happening is I decide to go and check those chests in the bottom left pair of chests. The right chest of that bottom pair, which we'll probably see this seed, ended up having the bottle in it. Out of basically nowhere, because at that time the commentator specified, hey, what would the most trolly place for the bottle to show up would be? And I popped the box open and the bottle fell into my lap. So there is a lot of sort of lore and talking about and moments that have come out of this randomizer, because it's been around since 2016. It is a storied randomizer. So I'm finding nothing in these chests up here, but you can see now that I have some levels. Cremate's a lot less scary. The ribbon is stopping a ton of that magical damage. Oh yeah, Peds are also afraid of me. Wait, why are Peds afraid of me now?
Well, one of the stats in this game, because this is basically in D&D, is that there's actually a hidden morale stat on enemies. And so when your level gets high enough, then they have a chance to fail their morale roll and run away instead of stay and fight.
Wriggly Puff is making a very good point that I've sort of been ignoring here. We're in go mode, technically.
We are technically in go mode.
We are absolutely in go mode, in fact. We have access to all of the major dungeons. We have no airship. It's okay. I would love a second ribbon, though. Nothing is missing right now. We have everything. We've got the loot, we've got the key, we've got the rod, so I could go do Earth Cave. We've got the canoe to access Volcano. We've got the Oxyale, and Kraken's really dead. We have access to Sky Tower, eventually. We've got an endgame sword. Like I said, I'd love a second ribbon, so we're still going to check the chest. I think Volcano will be my last chest dive here. We might leave the 50 chests in Sky untapped. we are gonna go down here and check these boxes real fast. What a good video game this is.
Look at how good at this video game Demerine is. She just found the floater.
Look,
No problem.
No problem. That's access to the airship. I'm gonna celebrate by killing a fiend. We're gonna go down and kill Carrie real fast here. God, that was a good floater location. I'm into that. I was gonna go into sky and everything. But I was here. We know we've got to kill Carrie. Let's go and tear this thing up. Most of the first fiends will fall to a level 20-some party with a Masamune, honestly, so I'm none too afraid of what's going on here. I don't know Ice Magic. I do know Ice Magic. Dalfin's asking that there's no flashy screen when I step on the damage tiles, and yeah, that's actually an add-on that the devs added in because, oh boy, that flashy screen is awful. And many of us did not want to be blind. The flashing actually causes a lot of players a lot of problems, honestly, and so for myself, of course, I've also turned it off because it bothers me. It doesn't always stream terribly well either. But, you know, I'm used to the sound cue for it, so I kind of know that it's there, which is pretty great.
Yep. Also, you're going to see that she actually goes out of her way to walk on the lava tiles, because those lava tiles don't increment the counter to the counter that counts out the steps to our next fight.
Hey, Syl.
Hey.
I'm checking these chests.
Hey. Look, I've never forgotten to open that particular box and had a key item in there that was critical to the run.
Uh-huh. It wasn't in that box, because it was in this box. I'm a terrible human being. There's Entroper, by the way, one of the head devs. Like, there's a lot of dev names rolling through in the chat here. It's pretty fantastic. It's always good to see everybody here. But we're gonna dash on down. We're done with this place. We're very done with this place, in fact. Also, please don't be dangerous, Carrie. I'm gonna burn these Cure 4 charges here. I think that makes an awful lot of sense. We love you too, Entroper. This game is real good, and you did real good, and we're super pleased, like, literally 100% of the time, by playing this video game, which is not terrible and does not make me salty or rage ever. I've never raged at this video game. I love this. This is my favorite randomizer, by the way. Like, this is actually by far my favorite randomizer. It's also the one, it helps that it's the one that I'm best at, but it is my favorite randomizer by a decent margin. Alright, let's, we've got sense here. We're gonna throw some fade charges, we're gonna throw some nuke charges, we're not
even going for the fast here.
Not even strictly necessary. Carrie's armor is not gonna be enough to stand up to 4 hits from the Masa, let alone 8. So we're just gonna tank Carrie real fast. Alright. We're gonna zip around the world a little bit here. We're gonna go grab our airship because I'm tired of being on the ground. All right, so we're gonna sail to the south with our canoe. We're gonna pop a couple of tents here. So we've got some things to do right now. We're gonna go and get class promoted because I really want access to life on my knight. I care about nothing else for that, but that I care about. And the airship is going to speed things up immensely because you know what's really cool about the airship? You know what's really cool about being in the air in Final Fantasy? Look how many encounters I'm getting. That's right. It's 0.
None.
Nil, none, nada, zip 0. There's nobody up here but me. There's no death gaze in this video game, everybody. It's too old for that. Alright, but the airship is always really important, because the airship really, when you think about racing this game, the airship oftentimes predicates when things are really going to get going and when you're going to be in good shape, and a lot of races are decided not always necessarily by who is fast, but sometimes who's fastest to get their hands on the airship, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And therein lies the rub sometimes, that the airship speeds the game up so much. you'll notice that walking around the world and popping a bunch of cabins and sailing around the world and popping a bunch of cabins, it's all real slow. We don't need to worry about that anymore. We're going to use up one of our many houses here, and we are going to go into here. And also, new hats. Most importantly, White Mage gets the cat ear hood, because Devout is the best white magic caster of all time, thanks Final Fantasy III.
Yep, the sprites are courtesy of a romhacking.net modification called Valkyries of Light. And done by one of the community members of Final Fantasy Randomizer, Terrelin. So we appreciate her for having put together this wonderful lady party of Warriors of Light.
Yeah, speaking of which, there are 2 Warriors of Light, by the way, while we're kind of going to interlude our way up Sky here before we get into the most important part of the video game. The major thing here is that we only have 4 party members, and we took 4 different classes. There are 2 other classes that we left behind.
We left behind the Black Belt and the Thief.
The Black Belt scales with levels, and is very good at punching.
Very good at punching, only scales with levels, really. Doesn't really scale very well with gear. But, oh gosh, can that Black Belt punch once they hit level 32, especially. They actually out-damage the Masamune, which is the strongest raw attack power sword in the game. They
get completely out of control. Also, because this is a D&D campaign, before promotion, they get 4 magic resistance per level, which means that at level 42, they have over 160 magic resistance, which then means that your black belt is already wearing a ribbon without wearing a ribbon. They're nearly immune to most instant death and damage effects. It's great. Alright, so we're on the endless floor here. We don't love this floor, but it's 2 in one direction, 2 in the other.
There is an option in the randomizer to have the teleporter on this floor be in a random location. We're not using that particular option today.
I like that for floor shuffle, but it's really scary. We want to make sure we get through here. Now, alright chat. There is a tradition in the community right now. We are on a specific location in the game called the Bridge of Destiny. At the other end of the bridge is Tiamat. There is nothing along the way, other than some enemy encounters.
One of them is?
The Great Robot, Warmech. We want to see Warmech! So I need some Bless RNGs in chat right now. I need you to summon Warmech for me. This is very important. The thing is, I have Silverfire in my chat, so there's like a 30% chance that I don't get an encounter on this, the most encounter-laden area in the video game. But we could find Warmech right now. Here we go. Shoutouts to Woat. Shoutouts to Woat. Woat is one of our community leaders and loves the 4 Red Hydra encounter. It's a little bit more common here, too. Come on, game. Give the fans what they want. Give me what I want. Elemental Air. I really don't want this encounter. This encounter's really bad. Elemental Airs have the highest base evasion in the game. And we are... Oh, the fans are sad. I'm happy. The fans are sad. Also, interestingly enough, Tiamat is susceptible to poison and stone effects, which I don't have any right now. I don't have the spell of Brack, but you can instantly kill Tiamat 1 at a very high rate of efficiency. It's like 26% or something. Tiamat hitting decently hard here. All right.
Nice 8 hits for 444 damage, and then finish it off with 1 more fade. And that is level 44 or 24 on the knight. We've been doing 4 hits with that Masamune. Level 24 gets us enough hit rate to jump that up to 5 hits. Every 32 hit rate that you get is an additional swing with your weapon. And then for the black belt in particular, if the black belt is using their fists, they double that, which is why 32 is so fancy for the black belt, because that's when they get 8 hits with their fists.
All right, so we're in Earth Cave, and now being an Earth Cave at a higher level, one of the reasons why we avoid this place, like we said, is that the enemy spread is very diverse. But when you're high enough level, that morale stat starts kicking in, and if you've played the original game in vanilla, right, Earth Cave is the first of the 4 elemental fiend dungeons, which means that there is a lot of enemies in here that will start morale breaking at this point, which is good for us. It's bad for them. Why can't we run from gargoyles, Silverfire? Why? Why? Is it because I hugged High Spirits at Limit Break? Has his horrible luck rubbed off on me? The world may never know. Needless to say, your run chance is supposed to get better as you level up. Interestingly enough, Black Mage actually goes in the wrong direction. Black Mage gets worse at running away as they level up.
But Black Mage is actually oddly really good at level 1 at running away. And it doesn't actually drop very much, it just drops very, very marginally.
Yeah, but Black Mage is technically still better than everybody else at running away in the party.
Except for the Thief. So we went over what the Black Belt was good at. The Black Belt's good at punching and not caring about equipment. The Thief is good at, well, really just one thing, which is running away. The running away glitch in the original game was fixed, which makes the Thieves' very high luck actually do something. I believe they have like between an 80 and 90% chance of running away, depending on what level the Thief is.
Yep, and since they get luck at every level, their skill only gets better every single level. Thief is good at a couple of other things, interestingly enough. There is a requested, like, basically, it's not necessarily a fix, because it's never been in any game, but there's a setting that makes Thieves gain 4 hit rate every level instead of 2. Which with the katana makes them basically way the best fighter in the game by a really wide margin.
Or at least up there with black belts.
Yeah, with a katana they can hit pretty darn hard. But of course they're also made of paper mache.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna find a blue cloaked cosplayer here. So hello vampire, and goodbye vampire. And we're going to open that chest, because I can never not open that chest, and it's got 6 gold in it. 6 gold. Love and life. Alright. Thief fixes are amazing. Like... Alright, we're going to use the rod to remove this plate here, and we're almost there. And we're going to avoid some treasure chests at the top. We're going to avoid some enemy encounter tiles at the top. We're going to slide around the bottom. This is actually the fastest way through here step-wise. You save half a dozen steps doing that. Can't even get a burger. Burgers in Crescent Lake are like $9.75. I think I'm like a Shake Shack there now. It's awful. Alright, everybody. It is time for one of the finest traditions in Final Fantasy Randomizer. So if anybody's ever speedrun the vanilla game, or seen speedruns of the vanilla game, you will understand that Lich is terrible. Lich is awful. Lich ends runs over and over and over again, and we really hate Lich. However, this Fiend of the Undead, this Master of the Earth, in the Randomizer, is pathetic.
We're level 24. We have the ultimate, or at least one of the ultimate weapons in the game. We have more nuke charges than sense, as you like to put it.
And
we are going to disrespect this boss so hard.
By casting Quake. What? What? Split punch strats.
So, oddly enough, Lich, being the Fiend of Earth, is weak to the Earth element, and therefore Quake is more accurate.
Yeah, it increases the accuracy of Quake, so we just fire that off. It has like a 32% chance of killing Lich, and we were going for the full style there. We were going to at least instantly kill one Fiend in this run. Lich sadly was in the way. I need to stop and buy a spell or two. I actually skipped Melman, which was a mistake. I would like this life magic, please. I would like this Cure 3 magic, please. I think, was Cure 4 level 3 as well? Oh yeah, I'd like that Cure
3, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get some of that action too. We're gonna get our knights some magic right now, and then we're gonna get our knights some levels.
I thought we would have gotten a charge on the knight by now.
We have not, because it's only on odd levels, and we promoted at 23.
Oh yeah, we promoted real late, didn't we?
Yep. So the knight and ninja end up getting spell charges only after promotion. They have to be a minimum of level 15. The hard thing, though, is on top of that, what ends up happening is that if you promote later, you only get the spell charges on odd levels because, I don't know, D&D. But we are going to get Heal 3 as well, and Invis. We're not going to get Heal 3 on the Red Mage because life is sad. But we're going to grab Invis 2 as well for Kraken because we hate Kraken a lot. Can you not learn any of the good spells, Red Mage? Hate
Only the first two, Fear and Ruse.
But those aren't good. Those are bad.
You can get Temper, though.
Can get Temper. Temper's real good. I really have a love-hate relationship with the fact that everything in Final Fantasy 1 can be explained because D&D. Also, a lot of the enemy sprites are basically D&D enemies, but they've been renamed because, you know, you can't actually use D&D names because TSR back in the day was real bad.
Yeah, sorcerers are actually mind flayers. They look like mind flayers. They do the things that mind flayers do.
They kill you. It's awful. We're gold bracelets here. I did not write that down. I'm bad at this video game.
I think that we haven't seen gold bracelets at all. I think
they're probably in Gaia then. I have a gold. I have a silver, but you also have a pro cape on the white mage.
Yeah, we have a pro cape. We also we had a silver armor, but I guess we tossed it. You could also just equip that black shirt.
Yeah, that would be good. What's my armor situation on my fighter here? Oh, right. My armor situation on my knight is real good. Never mind. We're super happy about that.
The dragon armor gives us fire, ice, and lightning resistance. Pro ring gives us death resistance, and the Aegis shield gives us poison stone resistance.
Yeah, the only thing
that's almost build your own ribbon.
The only thing you die to is Zap.
And Crack.
Both of which are in the Fiend pools.
Yeah, we've talked a couple times about the Fiend pool. So the final gauntlet of bosses. So when we go into the Temple of Fiends Revisited, we'll be fighting all 4 Fiends
in a row
again. In a row, and then fighting the final boss, Chaos.
So
so we want to make sure we don't want to run out of resources by the end, but there's also a separate set of scripts that are shuffled only between those 5 bosses and Warmech. So it has the Warmech's signature nuclears, it has Lich 2's signature nuke, it has Chaos's signature Cure 4, and it has Kraken's signature spamming Ink and Lit 2.
We're really hoping for Ink and Lit 2, I'm not gonna lie. Also in the pool, of course, are the non-elemental effects of Swirl and Tornado, and also there's Blaze from Carry 2, there's Fire 3 from Carry 2, there is Lich's other signature spell, which is actually Zap, which was really scary. One instance of Quake, so one instance of Crack comes from Chaos. There's also Slow 2 from Chaos, which is incredibly bad.
We have we can counteract that with the fast spells, so we're not particularly worried about it this time. But sometimes it can happen real bad. Yeah, let's get some more Agama facts going.
Right, so Agama, of course, are lizards that live in the Gurgu volcano. The only reason that they don't live on the upper floors because they got scared down by red gargoyles.
And we're just gonna grab what? You're gonna go for level 27?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I've got enough charges of everything. I basically, since this is not a race, I'm gonna take a little bit of a safety here. Right, like, you know, like, we don't need to be doing this right now, but I want to make sure that I really want to make sure that my mages are really closing in on 400 hit points. We can stay here for a while and get 400 hit points on the mages. That said, this is a speed run, right?
Let's go grab that Cure 4 and then go.
All right, that's what I was doing down there. Not just getting levels, but I already have that Cure 4.
You do?
I only have one charge of it, but...
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, as long as you can... That's kind of like the emergency Cure 4, like, halfway through the Chaos fight when the Knight's the only one alive.
And Chaos casts Cure 4 and makes me really salty. We've got one spell charge. I did not buy extra heal potions. I have 79. That's fine.
You have so much healing in this
I have
party.
heal 3, Cure 4, and Cure 3. Life is pretty good. And I don't have life 2, but that was at level 7 or 8, and I didn't check that. Alright, we're gonna take a hard reset. So at 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 37 seconds by my reckoning, we're gonna touch the black orb and we're gonna go into the past. Now, of course, in Final Fantasy I Vanilla for the NES, you can't go back from here unless you have exit.
And that continues to be the case here.
And we're going to take advantage of this super nice encounter table, and we're going to dash all the way to the forced encounter. Wow. The highest experience single tile in the video game was waiting for us down here.
Wow. And the only formation that gives more XP than that is itself.
Is Warmech. We're going to use the loot. And now, of course, this door, for some reason, is locked by the Mystic Key. This does not matter in the vanilla game because you do need the key to finish it. You need the key to get the TNT way earlier in the video game. In the middle of a race with Zardia last year, I ran into this door. I was very sad. I still won that race by 3 seconds. So we are going to just run from everything right now. I have no need of fighting anything. We don't want to use up resources fighting enemies. First strikes are fantastic. Again, we're not going to burn resources. We're going to dash away. We are going to have to fight frost dragons like this was vanilla. And we are going to do this the slow way because I really want to save resources here. You can burn fire.
You can maybe drop a fire 3 here, but
yeah,
that's up to you.
The problem is frost dragons are super healthy and it would probably be double sweepers, and I don't have fire 3 in my mage because I needed to buy other spells. So we're going to skip out of this right now.
Yep. That is true in chat. There are a lot of unrunnable encounters in the vanilla game here. It's actually not frost dragons. It's actually the purple worms that we ran from not too long ago that are unrunnable.
Wow, these actually have no health. Survives the 101, of course, because I have to get the Final Fantasy I special. Alright.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of things in the vanilla Temple of Fiends Revisited are unrunnable. Fortunately, with randomization on the what's runnable, it's not as bad. But, you know, we've still had 2 unrunnables. Also, if nothing was randomized, then you can know the encounter table thoroughly enough that you can manipulate a ability.
Yeah.
Or almost all of it.
Green Medusas have stun touch.
That's obnoxious.
Yeah, I'm really, really annoyed about this one. Also, Green Medusas resist ice because I forgot that they're backwards from their brethren, or their sisters in... So we're going to stop running away here because I'm really tired of getting hung up on this. And we're going to head on down and we're going to see Lich 2. Lich 2 is not usually scarier than Lich 1, but we kind of want to end the fight pretty quickly.
Yep. We don't really want to find out if he has any super duper dangerous things like Zap or Nuke or whatnot. If we happen to see them, then we'll know that it can't. That's one thing out of the pool that won't show up later. So that's nice. I don't think we're going to disrespect Lich 2 so hard that we're going to go with Quake.
No, we're gonna be honest. We're gonna do this one a little bit honestly here. We're gonna cast 2 Harm 4s and 1 Quake. Lich is undead. Lich takes full damage from Harm 4. We're still gonna cast Quake because I really want this. Lich, you tried so hard right there. Lich tried. Lich tried a lot. Spoiler alert, Lich also failed. Lich 2 is not quite as vulnerable because Lich 2 does have a little bit more magic resistance. It's only like 23% to land it. But we'll take it, we can get it. And now it's time for us to start respecting the elemental fiends a little bit more.
Yeah. Carry 2 has some pretty beefy physical attacks. The base hit points is 700, so that can go up to 1400 or as low as 350. And
she's got some noodle arms working there. She hits the fighter 5 for 57. I mean, the fighter's
that's against dragon armor, so like I don't know how weak those arms really are.
We're not going to find out.
I don't think we want to wait and find out. Although weight, on the other hand, is a good way to
save a couple of frames.
Save a couple frames, but oh wow, ink is basically a do nothing.
Yep. Darkness does nothing in this game, sadly, or happily, if as the case may be. I'm going to patch up my fighter who got their armor scuffed. Now we're on to the worst floor in the video game. That's right, it's Water Floor. Water Floor is, again, full of all of those nasties from Sea Shrine that we saw. This is why it's really good to have Lightning 3. Waters are not weak to lightning, they're weak to ice, and we never saw ice magic other than the black shirt. So we're gonna skip on out of here. We don't want to fight anything. We don't have a choice here. So we are going to burn Lit 3 charges here as fast as we can. Because what else can I do? But we are really trying to just sort of get through this as fast as we can. We don't want to fight things. Fighting things is a waste of time. Right, we're going to get a couple of safety levels along the way. I think our white mage is at 369. All right, that's not bad. Red mage is at 391.
Nice.
The reason that 400 is such an important number and why I always fixate on it a little bit is that Nuke is the highest damage spell in the game, and it does 100 to 200 damage. But on a hit, and Nuke's accuracy is through the roof, you double that, and you can take a hit for 400 damage. And taking a hit for 400 damage is bad times. Alright, we're going to keep running. Nothing really dangerous here, which is good. And we're going to patch up. Kraken is 2 tiles past the door here. Now, we hate Kraken an awful lot in this community. Kraken 2 is the hardest hitter in the game. Because Kraken gets 8 hits base. Strength is only so-so. But Kraken can absolutely tag a party member and just basically Shadow Realm them instantly. We don't love this. We are going to try and get a couple of Invis 2 charges up here. Oh my god. Oof.
Yikes.
A Kraken, please. Oh god. Alright. Kraken's bad times right now. We are going to pray that we get this Cure 4 off.
I think we should cast 2 of them.
Oh yeah, no, we're casting 2 of them. Ooh. That's not going to do much. Oh, wow. Kraken mineraled hit points. We actively crit with that one and just dropped Kraken back to the bottom of the sea, but thank goodness. Kraken is the first stone wall of the game, and oftentimes can just gut parties. If that Kraken hit one of the mages, that mage was taking 900 plus health of damage.
Maybe only 700.
Only twice their base hit points.
Only twice their health, you know.
You know, it's alright. Alright, we're gonna let it fly here because we're getting to the bottom. We're almost done. We want fast on the fighter here. 156. Alright.
Tiamat 2, not as powerful as Kraken, only has 6 hits instead of 8, with about the same base attack power. On the other hand, has more absorb, which is defense.
Yep. And
more health. Well, more base health. It apparently didn't really have much more health here.
Yep, of course, double crits with the Mossamy. And one of the weird actual things that was added in is that each individual hit can crit. So one of the things that Final Fantasy Randomizer shows you is how many times you crit. So we're here. We made it. We're done, right?
Let's top ourselves off, rearrange our equipment a little bit, and rearrange our party.
So we are going to take one very specific safety here. I didn't do this the entire time. Even though our fighter is very well protected from literally everything, we are putting the ribbon on the fighter. Because the fighter, we do not want the fighter to get zapped here. This is the, like, we're at the end. The fighter must survive. The fighter can kill Chaos basically solo at this point, probably with Moss Immune, Fast, and a couple temper charges sticking. With Cure 4, our fighter is probably okay. The ribbon will just make sure that Crack or Zap will only have a 3 in 256 chance of ending the run accidentally.
Wait, I thought I was talking about 0 base hit chance.
We're even going to put the fighter in the 3rd spot. Wait, do I really want to get
What's this 3 out of 256?
So even if you have full resistance from a death element spell or a spell element, it still always has a 3 in 256 chance to critical hit because you know in D&D you can roll a 20, right?
Yeah, and here you can roll, well, essentially it's essentially rolling a 0 in the internal, but
Yep.
It's essentially rolling the perfect value, which there are 3 of on the table. If you get a 0, a 1, or a 148.
It's super weird.
Because this game has no glitches in it.
This game isn't super weird. All right, so Invis 2, we're going to try and get a little bit of evasion up here. We are going to start just tossing our temper charges at our fighter, and we are going to use the power gauntlet once here. Because...
basically giving us time to get that fast up before we really start swinging.
Yep. And we are going to try and buff up a little bit here. Chaos opens on fire too, which is what we want to see because it does near nothing. We are going to top the party up here. I don't think I need a ton of Invis 2 here, honestly. But we are going to start pouring... we are going to give our fighter all of our energy. All of it. The white mage gets punched. She is doing her job by standing in front and making sure the fighter doesn't die. We just don't want the fighter to get meleeed because random crits could be really bad. That's a lot of evasion. You know, we forgot to buy lock, right?
Yeah, we did forget to buy lock. There actually is an optional flag that I believe isn't for lock to always hit, and it doesn't have a spell roll.
Oh, that was the wrong target for that. That's fine. But yeah, lock stops everything. Or at least it brings down the evasion. Ooh, 3-7. Oh, wow, there we go. The nuclear is out. We are having a bad time all of a sudden. We are going to Cure 4 the fighter. Nuclear is not elemental and does 80 to 320 damage. I rolled like garbage there. Oh, never mind. That's time.
Nice.
Slashing through there, thankfully. But yeah, as you can see, if Chaos has a lot of hit points and on higher scaling, Craig can be super dangerous. Like nuclear nuke, double nuclear, like, or nuclear swirl can just end a party. But yeah, that, everybody, is how you play the Final Fantasy Randomizer, and hopefully you learned something tonight. I really hope you learned something tonight.
One nice thing that's also been added after Chaos fades out here, there are a couple statistics that we get to see. We get to see like how many steps we took, how much damage we did and took, and how many treasures we opened. I think is one that you really like to note.
Yeah, we're always hoping for under 60.
It's not going to be under 60.
104. But 13,000 steps is about where I was in practice for this, which is fine. 76 power-offs because that's what the encounter table gave me. 104 is fine. But yeah, we got there. Hour and 45 minutes is not bad for these flags, especially with a bit of a bumpy start. My fastest...
That was a real bumpy start. Oh, that is time, by the way.
That is time. Sorry, time was on when Chaos died. I apologize. I'm just trying to keep explaining and keep talking. But yeah. But this is the Final Fantasy Randomizer. It is one of the oldest and one of the finest randomizers out there. It's been out there since 2016. I lovingly call it part of the origin story of randomizers. There's the big three, which is Final Fantasy 1, Dragon Warrior, and Zelda 1. All of which are really good. Everybody should join the Discord. There's much going on right now. We just finished up our summer league, so we're sort of in a little bit of a downtime. So now is the time to learn it before the tournament season kicks back over next spring. I highly recommend that you give it a try. Of course, I really am glad for the Frame Fatales. I'd like to shout out all the women who have had some wonderful runs. We're not quite done yet, thankfully. We do have one more run tonight, I think. Which you should absolutely hang out for Fatal Frame to wrap up this party to end the FF block here. But Silverfire, do you have any last thoughts about this one or anything else at this point?
I don't know. I really like randomizers, and I'm really glad.
Yeah, I basically only play randomizers, which is pretty fantastic. Of course, shout-outs to the RPG Valkyries, who are fantastic and have had a ton of runs this week as well. Our team, they're great. They're absolutely fantastic. Of course, keep in mind, again, your bits and subs make this possible. They make this wonderful randomizer content possible, but they also just make all of the speedruns that make up the GDQ hotfix possible. So, again, thank you all for your support during this run. It means a lot. But yeah, I think we're done. Thanks a lot for coming out, everybody. Have a great night.